Hello, Peter Moriarty here. Welcome to this month's live. I'm going to be covering as many of your questions as possible. I'm actually here from Taipei at the moment in Taiwan. I'm traveling right now, so forgive me if the tech setup isn't perfect. Fingers crossed everything goes okay. But if you're on the live, please say hello. Drop me a little hello in the chat. I'm going to be answering as many of your questions live as possible. And if you're new to the channel, welcome. We are here to help you systemize, organize, and scale your business using Google Workspace and other tools as well. And we're all about helping small businesses play a bigger game. So it's great to have you here, and I'm going to jump into some of your questions. Now we have a new Q&A set up. It's actually at ask.peter.com. ask.peter.tv. So if you head along to ask.peter.tv, there you can drop in a question and I'll be able to pick those up live. So head along there. That's where I'm going to be taking questions from today. At any time now and in the future, you can head along to ask.peter.tv, drop your questions in there, and there's even a democratic process where the most popular questions can be surfaced and voted up to the top, and I will answer those as much as possible. So a couple of people who joined on the live. Ryan saying loud and clear, fantastic, thank you very much. DJ, hello from the Chicago area. Thanks so much for joining. If you're watching, I'd love to know where you're watching from. We've got customers and subscribers and community all over the world, which is pretty awesome. And we are looking to help small business owners wherever you are. And so, myself, I like to travel around, usually based in Australia on the Gold Coast. But we're all about helping business owners create more freedom in their businesses. And so if that's what you're looking for, you've come to the right channel. If you've stumbled across us, make sure you come along and subscribe. All right, howdy from Texas. Thank you, Robert. Great to have you here as well. And it looks like, oh, here we go. My comments are all showing up. Okay, now I'm using some new live streaming software. So I'm gonna click the little add to broadcast button. There we go. So I can even bring people up on the broadcast. That's fantastic. All right, great. And I can highlight comments here. That's fantastic. Great to see you guys. All right, cool. One by one, I'm just gonna add you and say hello. Great. I just want to make sure that I can actually get everyone's comments and get everyone's questions as they come through live as well. But if you head along to ask.peter.tv, that's where you can drop in. That's where you can drop in anything, and I might even put that in here. Ask.peter.tv, just in case anyone joins the stream afterwards. All right, wonderful. So let's go ahead and jump into our first question. I'm going to maximize my screen here. And let's see if I can just clear some of these little warnings that are popping up. Okay, and let me share my screen. Wonderful. Okay, so first question is from DJ8010, and they ask, I'm curious, what product do you recommend for customer service call ticketing system for a one-man IT consulting company that could scale up in the future? Okay, well, that's a great question. Let me see if I can switch my camera back here. Okay, cool. So that's a great question. And when we're talking about ticketing systems, usually what someone is after is a customer service communication system. And so a customer service communication system usually looks like a little bit like a customer database. But it's also, I guess, a way of managing your communication back and forth with your customers as well. And a ticketing system, which is what IT companies usually use or have used for a long time to run their help desk, is something that is helpful for most businesses who are delivering customer service, because a ticketing system will allow you to triage customer requests that come into your team. It will allow your team to respond to them in an orderly fashion. But it also allows you to manage a high volume of customer requests without anything falling through the cracks. Now, most businesses that don't use a customer service system for managing their customer service will just end up in a situation where customers are emailing your staff individually, and maybe they're emailing your staff one by one. Maybe your customers are emailing you if you're the business owner. And what tends to happen there is every now and again someone misses or forgets an email, or so many new requests come in at the top of their inbox, the older ones kind of get dropped off down the bottom. And what a ticketing system does is it actually gives you a process where a ticket will come in, it will be assigned to someone, and effectively they're stuck with that ticket, they're stuck with that customer request. And any emails that go back and forward are automatically going to be tagged to that request. And once somebody is assigned the ticket, they're responsible for seeing that through to completion. Now, usually you'll have a ticketing system connected to one of your email mailboxes within your business. So that might be help@yourcompany.com or support@yourcompany.com, or you could even use it under sales at or orders at or whatever you want to use for your particular business. And whether you're a service business or if you're a distribution business, or even if you're an events management company, I think that all businesses can take advantage of a structured system for actually managing customer requests. Now, the question that's been asked here is, what's the best system for someone who's currently a one-man band, but they're considering potentially scaling up in the future? And my recommendation would be to start with something simple. You could, if you wanted to, just use a shared mailbox. And a shared mailbox within Google Workspace will allow multiple people to work out of one mailbox. So you can do things like have for example, you can have a labeling system where if someone is assigned to an email, you can have a label attached. And Google have added a few basic ticketing system-ish features to their Google shared mailbox now, if you've got a group mailbox set up and you've got multiple people accessing that. But once the business starts to grow and get a bit more sophisticated, you probably want to have things like a customer service score. Like you want your customers to have the ability to give you a thumbs up or a thumbs down on how their experience has been. And you probably want to get some basic analytics as well. Like you probably want to see what's the average response time to emails that are hitting the help desk. And as soon as you hire your first employee or your first contractor, you probably want a system that's going to let you see how many tickets they have assigned to them, what's the total number of tickets from customers, what's the oldest ticket sitting in the system right now, what is the average time that a customer request stays open. These are all very important for you to know if you're managing your team, because you want to make sure that good customer service is being delivered to your customers. And this is one of the best ways for you to take the hat of delivery off and actually hand it over to someone else. If you've read Michael Gerber's work, there's a very famous book called The E-Myth, or The Entrepreneurial Myth, and it talks about transitioning from a technician to a manager and then to an entrepreneur. And that's basically the journey of entrepreneurial freedom, which is getting other people to do the delivery for you, and then bit by bit, you stepping back from the business, which is something that I was lucky enough to do before I turned 30. I was able to systemize everything and then step back. And that's why I've created this channel, is to help other business owners do the same using the right kind of tech. So to the person who has asked this question, what product is recommended for a one-man band? Well, for a one-man band, you could probably get away with just using a shared mailbox inside your Google Workspace. That's probably going to be doable, probably going to be workable for you. But my recommendation is always, how can you start with the end in mind? And how can you set up things correctly when you are just getting started? And so there is a product that we recommend that lives right inside of Gmail, which gives you a bunch of features which let you share mailboxes with other people on your team. It's called Hiver. And if you're interested in that, head along to the link down below this video, book in a consultation with our team. It doesn't cost you any extra to buy it through us. In fact, you may even get access to some discounts. But if you would like professional help in actually getting it set up and configured, then our team have an offer available as part of our concierge program to help you do that. But if you just want to buy it from us, start your business relationship with IT Genius, that would be great. You can buy the licenses and set it up from us yourself. So check that out. It's on our website. It's called Hiver, H-I-V-E-R. Head along to itgenius.com and you can check that out there. Now, if you're just a one-man band and you're just getting started, you could probably get away with using a shared mailbox. So that's probably the place to start. But the moment you want to start hiring a contractor or somebody to help you out in the business, that's when you want to make sure that you have a system set up to delegate things properly to your team. And I've got other videos on using shared mailboxes if you search our channel. But thanks very much for the question. Okay, so let's have a look at some of the other questions that we've got here. Okay, can I mark this one as answered? I don't think so, but maybe I can just hide it or something. I don't know. All right. I don't want to delete it, but I'm going to move on to the next one. Okay. So, I don't think I'm signed in as an admin, but that's not a big deal. Okay. So, someone has asked, Andy, 21 hours ago, what is the difference between a Samsung Android tablet and a Chromebook? Great question. Great question. We've got a few videos on Chromebooks and Chrome devices here, so let's cover off this one. So a Chromebook runs Google's Chrome operating system. Now, right now I'm working and delivering this live stream on a Mac. I had to cave and buy myself a Mac because I was having some challenges on the road. I'd had to take too much extra gear to be able to live stream from my Chromebook, even though fingers crossed in the future I might be able to get it to work again. I'll see how I go. But right now I'm working from a Mac, and that is running the Apple operating system. Now, when I had a Windows computer, that was running the Windows operating system. In my studio back home, I run a Chrome box, which runs the Chrome operating system. And so Google's Chrome operating system runs on Chromebooks. It runs on Chrome boxes, which are specialized devices that also run Chrome. But now with a operating system called Chrome Flex, which Google has released to the public, you can actually install Chrome's operating system on any machine that you're working with. And Chrome is a whole nother brain. It's a whole nother system for your computer. And so if you are used to using an Apple computer or used to using a Windows computer, think of Chrome as like a third option. Now, if you've ever used Linux before, Linux is another option for an operating system for your computer. And Chrome is actually based on Linux, but it's got some googly tools on top of it, like the ability to sign in with your Google account and stay connected to everything in your Google world. It's automatically going to link everything on that computer to your Google account, like your bookmarks and your Chrome settings. And if you've got things saved in Google Drive, they're just automatically going to appear in your files on Chrome OS. Think of it as the operating system for your Google ecosystem. Now, it's a little bit different to Android, but here's where it gets confusing. You can actually run Android apps on the Chrome operating system. So it's kind of like the best of both worlds. A Chrome tablet or a Chrome box or a Chromebook that's running the Chrome operating system will allow you to add your Android apps to your computer. And so let's say, as an example, you're interested in, using something like Uber Eats on your computer, and you can't get the app on the web. I don't know if it works on the web or not, but let's say, for example, it doesn't work on the web. Well, you can actually install the Chrome app or the Android app on your Chrome device, and it'll actually run there. Or maybe you want to use the Netflix app, so you can download some movies for offline use on your Chromebook. Well, you can fire up the Google Play Store and download any Android apps. Now, an Android tablet is a bit more like an iPad. So just like an iPhone or an iPad, it just runs the Android operating system, which is a tablet operating system. And so that's different. It's not a fully fledged desktop operating system. You don't have a mouse and a cursor or anything like that, although if you pair a Bluetooth mouse, that might work. But an Android tablet is just going to run apps. Yes, it's going to run touchscreen. It's going to be even more lightweight than a desktop operating system. Now, there are tablets that run Chrome OS, which is where things get a bit confusing because it's basically a tablet. And so, why would you buy an Android tablet if you can buy a Chrome OS tablet and also run Android apps on it? Well, Android tablets are a little bit cheaper because Android uses a little less resources than the fully fledged Chrome operating system does. Chrome is still very, very, very lightweight. It's a lot more lightweight than Windows or a Mac operating system, but Android is even more lightweight in itself. So great question. Thanks for asking that. All right, DJ said the detailed response to the customer service ticketing system was thumbs up. Great. I'm glad that was useful. Thank you. Thanks very much for the feedback. Okay. All right, so we have a question here from Anonymous asking, how can we stop auto-updating on a Chrome box? Now, that's an interesting question. I'm not sure why you would want to stop auto-updates on a Chrome device. It's very important for operating system updates to be installed, and with Google, they just happen automatically by default. When an operating system update comes down, it's going to protect you from potential security exploits. It's going to, in most cases, help the machine to run faster, and it's going to, from time to time, bring in new features as well. One of the great things about Chrome OS is updates happen in the background, and it's actually got a very clever system where it has two kinds of storage on the computer. You've got your operating system that's live, and then you've got like a backup operating system. And how the updates work is you'll be running on the live operating system, but the backup operating system will actually be updating in the background behind the scenes. And then when you're ready to apply the update, you just have to restart. And what it does is it switches. It takes the background OS to the live OS, and you get your updated machine. So it's very fast to run those updates. Now, I don't know why you would want to stop that, but there is an option if you want to at least slow down the release of updates to your machines. And this might be useful if you're an IT manager and you've got a fleet of machines to manage, and you want to make sure that any changes that are rolled out to the Chrome operating system are compatible with any apps that you're using, or maybe you have some custom software that you've built, and that needs to run on your Chrome devices across the machines within your organization. Or maybe you just want to test for compatibility with the web, or test for compatibility with peripherals like a printer or something else that you're plugging into a Chrome device. And you want to make sure that updates are not rolled out willy-nilly to the whole team. Let's say maybe you've got 10 or 20 or 100 computers that you're managing. You can actually set in Google Workspace a policy which will limit the updates going out to your Chrome devices. So that's set up in your device policies, and you can actually limit the latest version that machines will be able to update to. Now, obviously, we don't recommend that you hold back a machine from receiving updates for too long, because you then run the risk of being open to security vulnerabilities. So it's very important that you be careful with using a feature like that. But it is certainly useful if you have maybe 100 machines and you want to roll out the update to 10, and just double check that everything works okay. Make sure everything's still, as we say in Australia, hunky-dory, which means it's all good. Then you can roll it out to everybody else. And we do that using organizational units. Let's say, for example, you wanted to roll it out to 10 people. You would set up an organizational unit inside your Google Workspace. And inside that organizational unit, you would apply the policy of allowing the latest update. And then from there, you would let everybody else come through on the future update. Now, I'm not going to show you this. I'm going to have my team add some B-roll and add instructions to this and publish the video on the channel, just because I'm not 100% familiar with how to do that process myself, and I don't want to get lost in the settings for too long with you guys. But great question there. Thank you for asking. Okay. What would be the best CRM system for beauty services? That's a good question. I deliver hair and makeup for weddings and events on location and at our studio. Wonderful. So what I would recommend here for this person, Stephanie Zapata, thanks very much for asking the question. What I'd recommend for this is you're probably looking at some kind of system that is going to be managing bookings. I'm assuming that your customers will have some level of self-service in their bookings, or you perhaps desire to have some level of self-service in your bookings. But secondly, you're probably going to need some kind of like scheduling and dispatch. And so CRM is a very broad term, right? Customer relationship management. And what that traditionally meant was managing sales processes with your team. And traditionally it meant, helping to manage follow-up when you had a deal active. So you would, call a customer, you'd have a chat to them about selling your product, and then from there you'd make some notes on the phone call inside your CRM system. That's where they kind of started with. But now CRM is a term that's a lot more broad, and it's really applied to pretty much any kind of customer database or customer management system. Now, most industries will have something for their industry by now. Over the last decade, software has eaten the world, and we have software for absolutely everything. And so you should have a cloud-based app for your business and your particular industry that's going to be suitable for you. And it's probably going to help you with the functions that you're used to doing, either manually by hand or with the help of staff right now. Now, what you're probably going to be gravitating towards if you're in a beauty services business, and this would apply to someone doing like, hairdressing, maybe, some other kind of makeup services, like, wedding cake delivery or something like that. You're going to be looking something that's going to allow people to book in for schedules, because you're going to have a resource like a room or a chair, based on having probably what I would expect you to call a studio. And then you're also going to have bookings for delivery to be done on site as well. And so you would have, like what would probably be called a call-out feature, where you can also have bookings made on site as well. Now, there's a number of different apps that you can use for that. One that's pretty popular is called MindBody. And so MindBody is traditionally used for things like yoga studios, but broadly applies to anything in kind of like the health and wellness booking space. And it's got a really great booking system that allows you to have people book into your clinic or your practice, or in this case, your studio, and book out resources. Now, there is another one which is called Clinico. That's, again, more aimed at allied health professionals, but that will actually allow you to book things in, manage resources, and have people make bookings online, which is probably going to be something that's important to you. I'm not sure if that one manages call-outs or not, but that's a good option. Now, there's one that I used a long time ago, and I'm trying to remember the name of it. I might have to remember the name and put the link down in the published video when we publish this. But there are some that I've actually used inside a studio before that I've recommended to a customer. And when I remember that, I'll drop a link down below. But there are other scheduling software. Now, if you search or Google for scheduling software, or maybe hair studio or makeup studio scheduling software, you're going to find things that are going to be suitable, hopefully, for your business. Cool. All right. I'm going to do one step better. I'm going to do a very quick Google for you. And I'm going to try and find this one. Nope, and I can't find it. My God, there are so many. There are so many ads. When did Google become all ads? Maybe I can find it. Timely. There we go. No, is it Timely? Let me double check that. Timely, that's the one. Yeah, check out Timely. Timely is gettimely.com. That's my recommendation. I've actually used that before in a makeup studio, makeup and hair studio for a client. And so make sure you check that one out. That would be a good option for you as well. Whew, I'm glad I found that. That's good. All right. So this is what you're looking for if you're going to be rolling out software like this. You're going to end up with a schedule that's hopefully going to be full inside your studio. Ideally, you're going to have people able to book in online. Ideally, you're going to have an app which lets you access that either on the web based from your phone, or hopefully in a dedicated app as well. And then you want customers to be able to check out and pay online when they book in. And yeah, you can see here the pricing is pretty reasonable as well. Cool. All right, great question. Thank you for asking that. Okay. Chris, thanks for the question. I always mention not using Google's internal transfer feature. What would I suggest in the event of an employee exit? Honestly, sign up to Concierge with our team and just have our team manage that for you. We've got specialized tools that we use in the background to do transfers, and we've got a whole process around checking the validity of the data that it's actually gone through and it's been saved before actually deleting or switching off the employee. I am tempted to release a guide on how we do that to the public, but it kind of like, it's challenging for me because I really try and find the balance between teaching how to do things yourself, but also wanting to teach business owners to delegate things to others. So right now I'm erring on the side of just delegate this one, and I'd recommend you just have our concierge team do that for you. But I may release a guide at some point in the future on exactly how we do that process start to finish, so you can, for example, delegate that to one of your team to do that. If you're interested in that, let me know. I assume it's a yes. But yeah, I might find time to put that guide together, and I'll publish that as a separate video on the channel. Cool. All right, let's go to our next question. All right. Am I still using LastPass after the recent security breach update? Great question. If you have not seen in the news, I'm pretty sure it would have got around to all business owners. LastPass have had a pretty serious security breach within the last 6 months. Initially, they said, hey, we've noticed someone got some access to our systems, but we don't think any data has been compromised. And then they said, hey, look, some data has been compromised, but nobody's vaults have been accessed. And then finally, they came out and said, actually, somebody has a copy of everybody's vaults. And that's pretty bad. LastPass vaults are the place where everybody's storage of every single password they have is stored. LastPass is effectively like a bank, or they're like lots of little mini bank vaults that each customer has effectively everything stored in: credit cards, passwords, two-factor authentication, backup codes. Now, LastPass, unfortunately, have had this leaked into a third party's hands. Everybody's vaults are still protected by your master password, meaning that the person would have to guess your master password to get access to the vault, get access to all of your data that's inside the vault. However, it's probably just a matter of time before a lot of people are having those vaults opened through LastPass. The challenge there is, if someone does get access to your vault, and in some cases it's just a matter of time of people using dictionary-based attacks and, one dictionary word and a combination of numbers, or maybe it's a dictionary word but you've just changed 2 or 3 numbers. Someone doesn't have to guess every single combination of every single letter that you've set up in your master password. Someone just has to guess the kind of thinking that you had as a human when you set up your password. And for many people, that's probably not going to be strong enough to stop someone with time and resources getting access to your vault, and then potentially getting access to the whole house of your digital life. Now, the risks there are pretty high. The risks are they can potentially use your personal information to impersonate you with your bank, with any other services or utilities that you access. They can potentially impersonate you and attempt to use your information to trick or scam somebody else who you know. And so let's say, for example, they got access to your Facebook and your WhatsApp account, and they started messaging colleagues or family of you, and started asking them for money or asking them for help or assistance. Or maybe they send an email to someone in your family and say, hey, can you send me your password for XYZ real quick? I just need to get access to this. Or, hey, when's your birthday again? Or when's cousin Bob's birthday again? I just want to get, I want to make sure that I send him a birthday card on time. And that's the kind of thing where they can use social engineering to start to, build that web of access between different people, of course, with the intent of stealing money, stealing resources and getting access to more and more accounts. So am I still using LastPass? Right now, yes. I'm reevaluating our relationship with LastPass as a business. We've got hundreds of customers who use LastPass, who have rolled out LastPass to. We're in the process of assisting those customers to lock down and protect their data, which right now the recommendation is to change every password you have for every one of your accounts stored inside of LastPass, which may be hundreds or even thousands of passwords. LastPass has the features of being able to share passwords with your team and manage passwords as an administrator right across your company, which is very useful. But the downside of a breach like this means that those passwords are now potentially at risk, and you'll need to regenerate a new vault, or at least change the master password on your vault, and then change all of the passwords in that vault, or at least all of the high-profile passwords within the vault. You may not need to change the password for your car forum that you signed up to 10 years ago. There's probably not going to be that much of a risk of someone getting access to that. But important for anything like Twitter, Facebook, any of your social media accounts, any of your banking passwords, of course, your Google accounts. You need to regenerate all of those, and you'll potentially need to also regenerate your two-factor authentication codes, which means switch off two-factor authentication and then switch it back on and generate a new set of backup codes for all of your accounts. Major pain in the butt. Now, should you ditch LastPass and go for something else? Should you go for 1Password or Dashlane or one of the many other alternatives? Some of them do have different features and different architectures, which mean that a exploit like this may not be possible in the future. But you have to trade that off with the convenience of features like LastPass being able to manage passwords on a team level, and LastPass being able to synchronize across different devices. Some of them will have different levels of encryption, different levels of private keys, which mean that it may be harder for hackers to get access to your vault if they do get access to it. But I'm not necessarily someone to run and jump ship immediately because I don't believe the fundamental architecture of LastPass is flawed. Yes, they've had a pretty serious exploit here and it's become a serious security event. Right now, I've chosen not to ditch LastPass as a product, but we're monitoring it, and I may change my mind on that in the future. I'll be sure to keep you up to date on that. We don't really make that much money from LastPass, so if you're worried about bias because us being a reseller of LastPass, it's just something that we provide to customers as a bit of a value add. We make a couple of bucks from it, but really it's F all, as we would say in Australia, added to our bottom line. So don't worry that I'm making some crazy amount of money from selling or pitching LastPass, and I'm absolutely wedded to it. We're after the best and easiest solution for small business owners that is convenient for you. Right now, I still believe that's LastPass, but I'll let you know if that changes. Great question, though. Cool. All right. DJ asks, what would I recommend as an alternative to QuickBooks Online for customer invoicing in the IT consulting industry? Great question. So we recommend Xero.com. It's very popular across Australia and New Zealand, and it works great for all small businesses. But I don't necessarily recommend using either QuickBooks or Xero as your primary way of invoicing customers. If you are an IT consultancy, you're probably going to be using something that is going to be managing things like tickets, managing customer contracts, managing projects, and that system may have an invoicing feature that is more appropriate to use for your invoicing rather than sending it straight out of your invoicing system. Now, the reason I say that is, as much as possible, you want to be collecting payments automatically from customers, particularly if you have a recurring service of some sort. If you have a recurring subscription business, ideally, you want to be collecting customers' credit cards, and then once you've collected a customer's credit card, you want to be just automatically billing that credit card. Now, of course, that's if you've got recurring services. For things like projects, it's going to be a little bit different. They're probably going to be more like a one-off. But popular IT management systems would be ConnectWise and Autotask. We happen to use one of those in one of our businesses. We previously used another one of those two in our business a long time ago. I will say that I have a bit of a love-hate relationship with those systems because they are very feature-rich in terms of delivering IT services like ticketing system and projects and management and storing customer data, but they're a little bit clunky when it comes to the invoicing side of things. Things like recurring invoices, some of the payment integrations are quite clunky and messy. Let's just say that without putting too much crap on those solutions. So what I would recommend, and this is what I do myself, is if you have a services business where you're receiving recurring revenue and you want to build a business at scale, and by scale I mean having hundreds and hundreds of customers with different different types of plans and different types of services, there is a fantastic piece of software called WHMCS, and it's actually built for web hosting companies. So WHMCS is a billing platform. It's a tiny bit janky to set it up, I'll be honest, but let me tell you, it works on a dime once it is configured, and it can, excuse me. And this system can be configured to set up your customers' credit cards, set them up on direct billing. It can be configured to have all of your customer information stored in one place with an online portal, so they can log in, pay invoices, update their credit cards, and every month it'll automatically ping your customers' credit cards. And if they don't pay, it'll send them follow-up emails until they do. Now, it's integrated with both credit card billing, but also bank direct debits as well. So it can automatically draw from people's bank accounts using a system called Go Cardless. And it's a great system. We use that for our business. If you're an IT Genius customer, you would be familiar with what that portal looks like. It's also very, very cheap. Now, if you're not going for large scale, if you're an IT managed service provider, I'm assuming you're probably going for scale and that something like that is suitable. But if you're a smaller business and you want to sell recurring services, but you don't want to go to like the big end of town because that system's quite techy and it does get a little bit, let's say there's a technical overhead to set it up and managing it. You could use something like Recurly or ChargeBee. Recurly and ChargeBee integrate with systems like Stripe. Very simple to use, a lot more user-friendly, easier to set up, and they're great at just setting up recurring payments. If you are someone selling digital products, like maybe you're selling online courses, or you're selling something like an online mastermind, then maybe your membership software would be the best way to set up recurring payments. And there's plenty of membership software out there for sites like WordPress, which will allow you to set up hidden areas and manage recurring payments. Most of those are going to integrate with something like Stripe as a payment processor. And each one of these is basically going to send invoices out to your customers so the customer gets the invoice, but then integrate with your accounting system so that you know every time an invoice is sent to your customer, it's also recorded in your accounting system. Systems like Xero.com and QuickBooks are designed really for the accounting compliance side of your business. They're not really designed for the customer service delivery of invoices. And so hence, they're great at sending the invoice, but they don't have automated follow-ups. They don't have automated charging of customers' credit cards. And there's some add-ons that you can add to them to do that. But my recommendation is if you're looking to build a scalable business and you really want payments to run on a dime, so you get to the 15th of the month and all this cash just hits your account, which is what happens to us right now and has done for many years, you want to set up a dedicated billing system that is appropriate to your business and is going to make sure that it's integrated with your accounting system on the back end as well. All right, hope that is helpful. Great. Cool. Question from Difficult. Curious to know if there's an advantage of using G Suite with Google Chrome versus Microsoft Edge. They both use Chromium, but it appears that Edge just runs smoother. Thank you. Great question. Yes, there is a small advantage on using Chrome, and that's that you've got a few more policy features that you could roll out using the Google Workspace admin, which will be applied into Chrome. So Chrome's obviously designed to work with the Google ecosystem, and so you're going to get a little deeper integration into your Google accounts. And I really love using Chrome policies for things like rolling out a set of standard company bookmarks. So everyone in my company has a standard set of bookmarks. I like setting things like the homepage for the business. You can do other basic things like choose to always show the bookmarks bar for everyone. You can enforce that safe search stays on so that no one can disable that. I don't personally know exactly how many Chrome policies will roll out to Edge, considering it does use the same brain in that it uses Chromium. I know you can sign in with a Google account and do some of the basics there, and I think probably have things like your plugins work and whatnot. But to ensure that Chrome policies work to the best of their ability, my choice would always be to use Chrome. Now, if Edge happens to work a little bit better for you, absolutely fine. I've got no issue with that. It's, as I said, using the same engine in the background, so it's not like you're putting yourself at risk, exploit-wise or productivity-wise. It's going to be completely up to you. So I'll leave that one with you, but good question. Cool. All right, great. Let's move on to our next question. Just a reminder, you can drop your questions into ask.peter.com, and even if you drop them in now, I think they should pop up automatically. Okay, so I'm going to take a couple more questions that have just come through. Let me share my screen here again so we can see the question. Okay, so Modi has asked, why can't I have unlimited storage after changing admin email address? It changed to 15 terabytes from unlimited. That's interesting. I'm going to assume that what has happened here is you've had a plan change of some sort, or perhaps you were on a legacy storage plan and Google have now switched you over to one of their limited plans. Previously, Google had a unlimited plan when it was called G Suite, and now everyone has been migrated over, or I think everyone has been migrated over to Google Workspace plans. Google did one of their silly things again, where instead of just changing the name of their software, they changed the name, but they changed all the SKUs, all of the product lines as well. And so over the course of nearly 2 years, everyone had to opt in from G Suite over to Google Workspace. And of course, we were doing this, during COVID, so it made everything more challenging as well. But the interesting thing there is that Google actually changed some of their features, and basically they dropped off that unlimited feature and started limiting accounts to, I think it's, you get a couple of terabytes per person if you're on the business standard plan. Now, the challenge for some users is that Google then removed for old accounts the ability to buy storage individually. And so where previously you could purchase a block of storage at 100 gigabytes or a terabyte or 5 terabytes, you could unfortunately no longer purchase that anymore. And I recorded a video on that on the channel called Why Did Google Break G Suite Storage? And unfortunately, that's what they decided to do, which was one of their little nudges to help people to upgrade to Google Workspace, which coincidentally also had a pricing change as well. That's Google for you. Now, understandably, yeah, sure, they're running a business. It's a great product and they need to put up prices from time to time. It was a little bit clunky on how they did it. But what I'm assuming for this person who's asked the question is that somewhere along the lines, either you've changed from one plan to a different plan within Google Workspace and your total storage for the account has changed, or you've changed from G Suite to a Google Workspace account, and that's why you're no longer seeing unlimited storage, which was on the previous plan. And now on your Google Workspace plan, you've got limited storage based on the number of users that you have set up on your account. All right, good question. We're going to move on to the next question here. I also have problems using my older Google Workspace because I have how I don't pay monthly. Okay, I don't quite understand that question, but maybe you can post that question again if you're still on the live stream. Drop that question in again, and I'll see if I can help with that. Okay. Anonymous has said, I've switched to Keeper from LastPass. Okay, so that looks like another alternative. Haven't heard of Keeper, but that looks like it might be an alternative to LastPass if you are interested. Cool. You can drop your questions into ask.peter.com. I'm going to drop that in there again just so you guys have it. Sorry, ask.peter.tv. Going to have to be careful with that. I'd love to own peter.com. Don't know who owns that, but I just bought peter.tv. Very exciting in my investment. Very excited in my investment. Okay, so next up, let's see what we got here. All right, popular questions. All right. Cool. All right. So the next question is from Music Gons. I pay for a custom domain. Now I have to pay for an individual account. Why is that? And can I have it for free? I'm not sure exactly what you're referring to for free, whether you're referring to having a Gmail account for free or whether you're referring to maybe having a legacy G Suite account, or it used to be called a Google Apps account. And in the old days, it was called Google for Business and Google for your domain. Has had many names over the years. But whether you're using a free legacy Google account, which Google took away and then brought back again and then took away and then I think brought back again, or maybe you were using a Gmail account and you switched over, or maybe you're someone who was using a Gmail account for your Google world and you decided to buy a domain name and set up a custom email address and then run that inside what's now a Google Workspace account. If you're complaining about using it for free, my recommendation would be you bite the bullet and you pay for it. If you're still using a legacy account and you're getting it for free because you've had it for a million years, my recommendation would be you switch to a paid account, because every now and again something will go wrong in your Workspace account, and we have over 20,000 customers. We have seen things go wrong in Google accounts where people are locked out or they lose access or a file goes missing or something gets corrupted, and you have to reach out to Google support to get help with that. Well, if you're on a free legacy account and you're not paying for that, well, you won't actually get access to Google support. And switching to a paid account at that point in time does not guarantee that you're going to be able to get the file back, because I heard from a little birdie many years ago that the infrastructure that the free accounts run on is actually different to the paid accounts. It's actually on legacy infrastructure. So just switching you over to a paid account doesn't necessarily mean that you'll be able to get your file back. And if you happen to be using a legacy free Google account for something like storing your family photos or your family files, that's the kind of thing you probably don't want to lose. Now, secondly, there are plenty of advantages of using a paid business account. Things like if you jump on the business starter plan, you can record your meetings inside Google Meet, have them automatically dropped into Google Drive after you've finished your meeting. That's an amazing feature and well worth the upgrade. You can do things like increase the amount of storage available for your account. If you have a domain that you'd like to change, maybe the legacy account that you set up has got an old domain name and you want to rebrand or use a new domain name for your business, then that's another reason why you would want to upgrade to a paid account. If you want to do things like roll out Chrome or Google policies, that's another feature that is restricted to the paid accounts. Basically, all the cool stuff that Google have built in the last 5 or 10 years has pretty much exclusively been rolled out to their paid accounts. So you're missing out on a lot if you're still sticking around on a legacy account. Now, maybe you're a sole operator and you're used to using Gmail, and so you'd prefer to stick with a free account on Gmail for your business. Well, I would strongly discourage you from doing that. Using a Workspace account means that you get access to business support from Google. So if anything ever goes wrong with your account, it means that you're able to get access to the administrator panel of your account, either through a reseller. If you're working with IT Genius, you can join Concierge for free. And so go ahead, join Concierge. It means you've got your billing through us. Doesn't cost you any extra, but if anything ever goes wrong with your account, ring, call up IT Genius. Hey, can you please get me back into my account? And our team will be able to help you with that. But the second way to get access to your account, if you have a business account, is to use your DNS. So to use your domain name settings. And inside your domain name, what you can actually do is you can kind of break back into your account and get access to your administrator password. Now, you might think, Pete, why should I prepare to have to break back into my account? Well, let me tell you, Google accounts get locked out. People get locked out of the Google accounts all the time. We have a help desk. We receive hundreds of requests per year. Maybe not on getting people back into their accounts, but I can tell you there's at least 10 to 20 requests per year where someone has been flagged for spamming, or someone has been flagged for malicious content, or maybe just, Google decided that you violated their terms and they don't tell you what their terms are. They just switch off your account. And in each one of those instances, you need to get back in. Now, of course, the fourth one is you may have someone hack into your account, somehow get access to your two-factor authentication, or if you don't have that set up, all they need is your username and your password and they're straight in. Maybe they're, doing a sophisticated attack and they've stolen your mobile phone number, or maybe you just were lazy and set a crappy password and you forgot to set up two-factor authentication, and boom, somebody is into your account. Well, what that means is that Gmail account is gone, and that might be your whole business gone. Now, we have customers who call us who are operating on a Gmail account for their business and have been locked out of their account, and usually when they call us, they've been locked out for a week, and they are freaking out because all their customer data are there, all their customer emails are there, they can't receive orders, and they don't even know who's emailed them. Think about that, and just let that fear sink in, because I really want this to hit you. I don't want you to ever use a Gmail account for your business. Well, that's what you're up against. And so my recommendation for you is, if you're being a freeloader and you want to stay in the free world, come over to Business Workspace. It's only a couple of bucks per month. I think it's $15 per month now. You can set up a professional business account. You can get access to it if anything ever goes wrong, and you can get support when you need it as well. Whether you buy it through us or directly through Google, we don't really mind, but you do get some perks jumping on a concierge for free and setting your billing through us, including Genius Academy, which is our online training portal, which helps you and your team learn more about Google Workspace and become Workspace experts. And you also get a free account check and audit as well. We'll check and make sure that your DNS and everything else is all set up correctly. Okay, let's move on to our next question. Okay, cool. We've got another question here, which is, on my older account, I stopped for some time paying for it. After I treated to pay for it, so after I stopped paying for it, it stopped working. How can I use it? Okay, well, if you have a Google account and you've stopped paying for it, either accidentally or on purpose, your Google account will eventually move into a suspended mode. Google kind of put it in limbo. And so they will suspend the account and they basically hold the account until you start paying for it again. However, there is a limit to how long they hold it for. Now, they say that limit is about 30 days. Sometimes it hangs around on their systems for a little bit longer. And so if you have right now had your account switched off, or you don't have access to your account, or you've deleted an account and you need to get it back, whether it's a user account or your whole Google Workspace account, my recommendation would be, if you go to try and log into that account and Google says this account no longer exists, and it appears that it has been deleted, my recommendation would be to have a chat to our team. Now, sometimes we can recover accounts even after Google say they have been deleted, because sometimes they're still hanging around on Google's back-end systems. And IT Genius, being a reseller, we can actually get access to some of Google's back-end systems via our reseller support channel. So if that's you, click on the link down below, get in touch with our team, let them know that you've got an account that has disappeared or it has expired and you need to get access to it again, and we'll be very happy to help you out with that. Now, if you're the kind of person who is maybe not great at keeping your credit card up to date, or you're not super savvy at paying bills, or that's the kind of thing that you tend to forget, let me switch back to my camera here. If it's the kind of thing that you tend to forget, well, my recommendation would be that you switch your billing through to IT Genius. It doesn't cost you any extra. You can jump on a concierge for free and bill through IT Genius. And what that means is before we switch off your account, we're going to be calling you, we're going to be texting you, we're going to be emailing you, and we're going to be doing everything we can to get in touch with you before we switch off your account. Because Google have no mercy. You don't pay, boom, your account switched right off. We have a very friendly accounts department who will be doing everything they can to get in touch with you before they, yes, inevitably switch you off if you don't respond to us for a number of weeks. But we're going to be a little bit more lenient with your account. And so if that's something that's of interest to you, jump onto the link down below. You can transfer your billing into us by joining Concierge for free. Okay, let's move on to the next question. I'm going to see, I thought I may have had the option here to actually trigger my cameras via oh, there we go. I found it. Cool. So looks like I can trigger with a shortcut here. I'm going to try and do that from now on. Okay. So question here from RJE Records or RJE Records. Don't know which one that is. Do you use Asana and Copper CRM together, or would Copper replace it? Great question. Helps if I don't take you back to the intro. Hey, okay. So great question here. Should you use Asana as a CRM? Should you use Copper as a CRM? So first things first. Asana is a task management platform. It's a shared collaborative task management platform, and it's designed to help you and your team get work done together. So whether that's tasks, whether that's projects, delivering anything that you need to deliver inside your business, Asana is a great tool to help you do that. And what it's designed for is to help share tasks, share lists of tasks, and share projects on either a list or a board and delegate them to your team. One of the other great features of Asana is it gives you the ability to have a conversation along a task. You can mention and tag people. You can mention and tag other tasks. You can set up due dates and timelines and dependencies. And if you pay for the enterprise version, there's all kinds of custom fields and automations that you can set up inside Asana, which make it a powerhouse for getting work done. Now, I've put Asana probably into about 500 companies, and we've been recommending it for around about a decade. We are now a global implementation partner for Asana. So if you're interested in getting some help with Asana, I'd recommend you jump onto our concierge program, because our team will help you configure it to match the processes inside your business. And so if you want your team to be humming along with your task and your delivery inside Asana, well, it's an absolute amazing task for that. So what would we use a CRM for if we've got this amazing task system? Well, Copper is a CRM system, customer relationship management system. And it's really strongly focused on building and managing the relationships with your customers. Copper uses AI, and it automatically pulls all of the data out of your systems. So your email system, it also talks to something like Zapier, and will connect to different apps that you have across your business ecosystem. And it will actually pull all of those into one place. Now, all of that data inside your customer relationship system means that when you call a customer, and maybe you've got like a sales call with that customer, maybe you've got a project that you're delivering for that customer, all of the information related to that deal or related to that customer is going to be in one place. And so, okay, great, we've got it all sitting in one place. What do we do with it? Well, it means that when you're emailing a customer, you can see the whole history of what your staff has sent to that customer. You can see the history of what you've sent to that customer. You can see any notes that you've applied to that project. Copper is for managing relationships and for managing your communication with your customers. Asana is for getting work done. And you could say getting S done. Getting it done is what Asana is for. So they're two different systems, but you could use Asana for a CRM system if you wanted to. You could spin up a board and put a card for each customer inside Asana. And if you were working through a deal, you could, move a customer card from column to column as you were managing and as you were working through a deal. So that would be one way of using Asana like a customer relationship management system, like what you do inside of Copper. Now, would I recommend that? Well, maybe let's say if you were doing a very, very low volume of deals or a very, very low volume of projects and you really didn't have a sales team constantly on the phone to customers all day long, yeah, sure, it might make sense to, just do that inside Asana. Where Copper is really fantastic is for being the relationship powerhouse of your business. What that's really great for is making sure that all of the communication between you and customers is automatically tracked in one place, and then having a great system that gives you reporting, it gives you analytics, it lets you, do things like manage, deal volumes and conversion rates, and see what the conversion rates are of your sales team. They're all things that are designed to happen in a sales system, not in a project management system. So Asana is not going to be able to do those things. But if you're thinking about, building a house or delivering a construction project, that's the kind of thing that you would do inside of Asana, because you need deadlines and you need timelines and you need calendar events and you need dependencies and you need to be able to assign tasks to people. They're the kind of things that you can do at a very, very, very basic rudimentary level inside of Copper. But Copper is really not designed to be project management. It only does basic tasks, and its primary purpose is for managing relationships. So that's the difference between the two. I would keep the two separate, but I would integrate them. If you join up to Concierge, well, you can have our team use a tool like Zapier to actually get the two systems talking to each other. Maybe when you close a deal in your sales system like Copper, you want to automatically have a project created from a template inside Asana. Maybe when you have an Asana project marked off or completed, you automatically want to have a note added to your customer's file inside their Copper CRM record. And so you can see that you can automatically have data flowing between the different systems, which can make it very, very useful as a business system working together. If you're interested in that, jump on the link down below, have a consultation with our team, and they'll be happy to help you set up some automations in your business so your workflow can run even more smoothly. All right, what's next? Cool. Graham has said, OpenView is a popular and powerful image editor for Windows. Similar alternatives for Chrome OS. Seeking to edit images, not specifically photos. Graham, I would probably point you towards Canva. I have used OpenView many, many years ago, and I know that Canva is certainly not the graphics powerhouse that something like Photoshop is. But I'd probably say for most things Chrome OS, you're going to be leaning towards doing things online. Google have moved away from using plugins and what were called Chrome apps that run locally within the Chrome ecosystem. And Google are moving towards using progressive web apps, which are effectively web apps with a few extra features coming down to the desktop. And so most of what you're going to be looking for in terms of tools to use on Chrome OS are going to be web app solutions. Now, Canva was my number one recommendation. Adobe have also released an online version of Photoshop that runs in the web. I'm not aware of any other alternatives off the top of my head, but those two might be great places to start looking. Alternatively, you could potentially use an Android app. If you have a Chromebook with a touchscreen, you could use an Android app. That's probably going to be a pretty good experience. And there are plenty of image editors available in the Play Store for Android. So that would be another way of editing things. The final solution would be to use remote desktop and use like a fully fledged version of something like Photoshop or even OpenView if you wanted to on another computer and just remote desktop into that from Chrome. Depending on the workflow, that might be useful for you or your team. But usually remote desktop, gets a little bit clunky, and if you're using it just for one app, might not be worthwhile. But hopefully those recommendations were useful. And good to see you again, Graham. Okay, I'm not clear on the customer invoicing solution. Currently a one-man IT consulting company that does on-site customer service calls as well as remote desktop support and hardware product sales. DJ, the basic solutions that you'd be looking for would be something like oh my God, what's it called? It's a job management system. Oh shit, I can't remember the name. I'll send you the name if I remember. ConnectWise or Autotask are the big daddies. Like if you're growing an IT services business, what you're looking for is called PSA, Professional Services Automation. And so if you Google Professional Services Automation, you're going to get slammed with ads. You're going to find a bunch of websites. They're the kind of apps that you're looking for IT management. And that's going to cover hardware sales, service desk, invoicing, contracts, and storing customer data as well. That's what you're looking for. Okay, Modi has asked, why is Google Voice only possible to use in USA and not in Norway? Great question. Google set up Google Voice and began rolling it out to the world. And Google Voice is a pretty darn amazing product, deeply integrated with Google Workspace, and basically gives you a virtual phone system that allows you to designate numbers to your different team members, set up a call queue for incoming calls, and then effectively have some of Google's AI tools built into your phone system. Like, for example, having all of your phones ringing on all of your different devices and being able to answer from any place is a nice feature. It does things like automatically transcribes your voicemails and puts them into text for you. Lots of great stuff. Now, Google started rolling this out globally and then paused. And I don't know exactly why they paused. I don't know if it was because of regulatory issues. I don't know if it was because it was just too much overhead. I don't know if maybe it wasn't growing fast enough for them. But for whatever reason, Google paused their global rollout. And I've got to be careful what I say, not to breach my NDA with Google. But we had an indication that it was coming to Australia. And we no longer have an indication that it's coming to Australia. So I don't actually know what's going on with Google Voice at the moment. We've been waiting in limbo mode for years now to see what's going on. I don't know what the holdup is. If I knew, I would allude to that, but I don't know. So I don't know why. It appears their global rollout has been paused for a number of countries. I expected it would have come to Australia before now, but it hasn't. I don't know why. If I were to speculate, I would say it would be either regulatory challenges. I do know, considering we have a very close relationship with an alternative called Dialpad, that porting numbers and dealing with telcos is like an AI, modern, new age business dealing with Stone Age or horse and cart technology. Because interfacing new virtual phone systems with old school telecommunications providers, with porting numbers in and out, and managing the back end telco infrastructure is an absolute nightmare. Not only that, but there are all the regulatory challenges. Most countries have telecommunications designated as a utility, and therefore there's a bunch of laws that apply. In Australia, we have something called the Ombudsman, which is effectively an individual, independent third party that regulates the telecommunications industry. And so, for example, if you call up a telco provider and you say, hey, I'd like a new phone number, and they don't deliver it within a certain number of days, you can go to the Ombudsman and lodge a complaint, and they will actually fine the telecommunications provider. And it's guilty until proven innocent. The telco provider have to work to overturn that fine, otherwise they just get slapped with a fine straight up from the Ombudsman. So when there are those kind of challenges, a large company like Google who wants to move fast, make money, and not be held back, that can be a real challenge for them to roll out. So one speculation might be that rolling out telco products is just too hard basket for them, and they instead are focusing on other areas of their business, like growing their cloud platform, growing other features in Google Workspace, and responding to other market dynamics that are going to help them to make more money, considering telecommunications is a pretty crowded place. Number two speculation might be that for some reason the product wasn't growing at a rate that they were satisfied with. We do know that Google are very strict in making sure that products are growing at a certain rate and getting a certain level of user engagement for them to continue to invest in their products. And that's why they kill so many of their products. It's because they just don't get the numbers. When they don't get the numbers on a product, they don't get that hyper growth that they really want to get to. Quite often they just bin it and they go and focus on something else. So it's possible that Google are not seeing the growth that they're happy with across Google Voice, and therefore they're deciding not to ramp it up. Who knows what the reason is? If I have any more data on that, I'll be sure to share it on the channel. All right, great. Cool, great. More questions coming through. Okay, cool. We have one from Kirkpatrick here. By the way, please drop any questions. If you're on the live stream, please drop any questions in ask.peter.tv. I will have time for some more questions, but I'm nearly out of all of my pre-prepared questions, and I'll be wrapping up when I run out of questions or if I run out of time. But so far, we're actually doing pretty well for time. Let me check my calendar here. Yes, we are. Cool. All right. So let me go to my next question here. Oops. Helps if I. Where is it? No. Okay, that's weird. I'm trying to do my keyboard shortcut to change cameras, but it's not changing cameras for me. I'll do it manually. All right. Next question. I want to delete Google Chat. Kirkpatrick4622 would like to delete Google Chat. I don't know why you'd have a reason for deleting Google Chat. Let me switch back to my camera. I don't know why you'd have a reason for deleting Google Chat, but if you decided that you wanted to switch off Google Chat for your users and you're a Google Workspace user, that's pretty straightforward. You just go into your administration panel and you can go and switch off that service. And why don't I show you how to do that now? So if you haven't already connected to the administration panel, it's super simple. You head along to admin.google.com. Let's go ahead and open up my admin account here. All right, and so inside my admin account, I can go to Apps and then Google Workspace. And you can see each one of my apps. Maybe let's go to the overview. Each one of my apps has a service status. And I can choose to switch these on or switch these off. Oh, and of course, Google's going to make a liar out of me. And it doesn't appear to let me switch it off. But let me see if I can go into here and switch it off. All right, wonderful. Yep. So we're in our chat. We're in our services. We've clicked into the chat service. And if I want, I can actually switch off the service. And all I need to do is hit Save Changes. And it's going to go ahead and switch that off for everyone that's involved here. Now, if I don't want to switch it off for absolutely everybody in the company, you can see on the left-hand side here, we've actually got different organizational units for different groups of staff. And so if I was to create a new organizational unit, and inside my organizational units, maybe I created a new unit and I called it Chat Off, I would switch off chat just for that organizational unit. And then from that organizational unit, I would add staff to that I wanted to switch off chat for. And so once I've added staff to the Chat Off organizational unit, it's automatically going to disable chat for them. Pretty straightforward. I love Google Policies, makes it really, really easy. If you're interested in some help with setting up Google Policies or you want to achieve something and you're not really sure if it's possible to do within the Google ecosystem, well then just drop us a little note down below, click on the link and get a consult organized with our team. Let us know what you're looking to achieve with the Google policy, or maybe just even ask the question, what can I do with Google Policies? If you search our YouTube channel, I've got a couple of videos that I've created on cool things that you can do with Google Policy. So if you search for that, you'll be able to find some recommendations there. Okay, where is my next question? Maybe I'll go to most recent. All right. Okay, if I have... perfect. Great. Good question. Anonymous has asked, if I have a team using LastPass, how would I stop Google Chrome's save password feature? It defeats the purpose. That is absolutely correct. If you are using a tool like LastPass or Dashlane or 1Password or some other password kind of tool which is storing passwords for you and your team, you probably don't want your team saving their passwords into Google Chrome. There isn't really a security risk for that, but there's probably going to be a convenience risk in that staff are lazy. They're going to do the easiest thing for themselves, right? And if that means Google popping up and prompting them to save a password inside of Google Chrome, well, then they're just going to click that button and save the password inside of Google Chrome. But what that may mean is that a password that you wanted shared with your team in LastPass, or a password that you wanted to get access to once that person left the business from LastPass, is no longer in there. It's sitting in Google Chrome's password manager. And maybe it confuses your team on having two different systems for storing passwords, and that's going to eat into their productivity time. And so what my recommendation would be then is to actually go ahead and switch that off via a Google policy. And so to do a Google policy for that, we're going to go into our, let's head along here, into our admin panel. So we're going to head along to admin.google.com. And I don't know why my, let me just see if I can fix that. For some reason, my A camera is showing up with, I don't know what's going on there. It's showing up with an extra little thing that I didn't want, but that's all right. Let's go back to my screen. Okay, cool. So let's set up a policy for restricting someone. Let's set up a policy for restricting someone from using the password manager inside Google Chrome. So we're going to go into our device policy. So we're going to go into devices here. You can see we've got Chrome. We've got a few different options for Chrome here under settings. We've got users and browsers, devices, and then managed guest sessions. Now, some of these pertain to Chrome devices like a Chromebox or a Chromebook or a computer running Chrome OS Flex. But we're looking for user settings, and inside user settings, we can apply them to anyone with a Chrome browser. Doesn't matter if they're using a Chrome device, a Windows machine, or a Mac. You can apply Chrome policies, and as long as someone is signed into Google Chrome, it's going to apply to their computer. So if we click on, you can see here on my Google Chrome, if we click on my pretty little face there, you can see I'm signed into Google Chrome here. And when I'm signed into Google Chrome, oh, it might not be showing up for you, is it? Yes, it is. I'm signed up for Google Chrome here. And what that does is that means that any company policies are going to be pushed down to this device. Now, of course, it's important if you're rolling out a policy to staff, you're going to make sure that they're signed into Chrome. So one of the first things that you do when you onboard a staff member is you want to enforce that they are signed into Chrome on their computer so you can make sure each one of those policies are applied. Now, I don't know if you can force someone to be signed into Chrome before they can access their Google account, but I would love to have that as a feature. So Google, if you're listening, we would love to have the option to actually force someone to be signed into Chrome before they can access their Gmail account. Okay. All right, so let's go into settings and then users and browsers. This is where we this is where we add our user settings. And we should be able to just run a search here. If I run a search for password, let's see if I can find policies relating to password. Now, I'm at the top level of my organizational unit here, meaning that I'm going to apply these across the whole company. If I wanted to apply this policy just to a subset of users, I would first create an organizational unit and put certain users in that unit, and then I would select that unit and then set up some settings just for that unit. But I'm going to go right across the whole company because we want to set this for everyone and we want to disable the password manager for absolutely everyone. So I'm going to click the top organizational unit. I've searched for anything related to the word password to show me all of my password policies. And let's see what we've got here. Okay, cool. So under the security menu, password manager is what it's called. And you can see I've actually already set this policy for my company. Never allow the use of password manager. So the three options that you have here as a policy is allow the user to decide, always allow the use, or never allow the use. If you want to lock it down, you can never allow the use, and that will lock down the use of the password manager inside of Google. Great question. Thanks so much for asking that one. That was a good one. All right. Cool. Anonymous has said, turning off the password doesn't work if they're not logged in. Yes, I just covered that too. Yeah, no, it doesn't work if they're not logged in. So one option, let me just adjust my chair here. My chair's getting shorter and shorter as I go along. So one option, if you're interested in enforcing that your team are signed into Google Chrome, would be to use device approvals. And what that means is each time someone signs into a new device, you've actually got an option within your Workspace admin panel to manually approve devices one by one. And so you could, if you wished, to approve a device only after someone has signed into Google Chrome. Although I don't know if that would even work. But go and test that one at home. Let me know if that works. And drop me a message on Instagram. Let me know if it works or not. By the way, if you want to connect with me on social media, I would love that. Jump on the link down below this video. If it's not below the video, it's just peter.tv. Head to peter.tv and you'll see a link to my Instagram there where you can connect with me if you like. And if you've got specific questions, make sure you drop them into ask.peter.tv. But if you just want to have a chat and say hi, then go ahead and send me a message there. Okay, all right, let's see. I think I've pretty much got through everybody. I'm going to go to recent here and see just to make sure I've got everything taken care of. I think I have, so I'm going to wrap it up soon. But I know that I've got Graham on the call, and I know that Graham has a question in my Instagram inbox that he sent me a month ago, and I'm going to go and answer it for him. Let me try and find that. Where's Graham? Okay, Graham. Oh, wonderful. Okay, cool. So what are the advantages of, Graham asks, what are the advantages of, or the benefits of a small business signing up for and paying for a enterprise Chrome device license? It's $50 US per year. And why would this be useful for a business? Great question. So if you're using Chrome devices, whether it's a Chromebook or a Chromebox, or if you're rolling out Chrome OS Flex, which you can install on any computer you like and turn it into a Chrome device, you have the option of upgrading to a Chrome Enterprise license. Now, these used to be called device management licenses, and now they're just called enterprise management licenses. And what that does is it effectively unlocks a lot of really cool features for your Chrome devices. Now, you don't have to be on Workspace Enterprise. These are absolutely fine to use on a business plan. But the main thing that this opens up is the use of a lot more policies for Chrome, and specifically device policies. And so you saw probably in previous sections or previous videos that I've created on how to create Workspace device policies for user settings inside of Chrome, and they'll be applied to anything inside Google Chrome. Any user that's logged into Google Chrome is going to have the user settings applied. But if you want to apply device level settings, well, then you need to have a device management license, which is now called a Chrome Enterprise license. So what are some of the things that you can do with a device management policy? Well, you could do things like change the background wallpaper of your staff computer. You could do things like set up a kiosk. So if you have, let's say, a public use computer that's maybe in a library or in a retail environment, or in some kind of open environment where you want people to get access to it, maybe you want to set a 10-minute or a 30-minute timer for someone to have a session length on that machine, and then you want them to be logged out after a certain period of time. Maybe you want to set up your machines to automatically have deployed certain types of kiosk software, like if you're running a remote desktop application like Citrix or another kind of virtual desktop application, or even Microsoft Remote Desktop, which runs on Chrome devices. You can have the Chrome device boot and automatically open up a kiosk mode where all they see is the virtual desktop interface, and then that person just logs in to that interface. So they don't even have a desktop experience of working with Google Chrome. Maybe you want to use a Chrome device as a signage solution. If you have a Chrome Bit or a small Chrome box, which are small itty-bitty Chrome devices, which are designed to be just plugged into the back of a TV and run 24 hours a day as a signage app, where you can actually use Google Chrome as a digital signage solution. And for that, you use a device policy to push down remotely any applications or push down remotely any signage apps or services that you want to have running. Now, imagine this. Imagine you have a storefront or you have a series of storefronts and you want to manage what is advertised in those screens. What would usually have to happen in the old days is you'd go around with a USB stick and it would have a video file on it, and you'd plug it into each one of those TVs. Or maybe you would post it to each one of your store managers and then have to move it around and place it in there. But what you can do with a Chrome device is, as long as that Chrome device has access to Wi-Fi, it's self-updating, it's monitored centrally and centrally managed, and you can have dynamic content appearing on those devices because they're connected to the internet, and you can create dynamic content with some of the screen builder apps, which are very cool. So device-based policies in retail environments let you do things like kiosk and public use computers, which are very, very cool. In a corporate environment, they allow you to set the device level policies. So anything that happens on the device, like limiting the users, like managing the enrollment of devices, like restricting who can log into the devices, stopping your team from logging into a work device with their Gmail accounts, as an example. Any of those device level policies which are managed with user accounts or pertain to the sessions that happen on a local device are all managed via the device level policy for Chrome. Now, if you're integrating into a hybrid environment, like maybe you have some kind of open directory or you have a Windows directory on Azure that you'd like to connect with, where you can actually use Chrome devices to connect to Microsoft Active Directory, but you need the enterprise licenses for that as well. They now, I believe, natively connect to Active Directory using the enterprise licenses, which is pretty cool. But if you want to integrate your directory with Google Workspace and Microsoft directories as well, that is also an option. Now, if you're interested in getting some help with that, one of our businesses is called On-Site Helper, and that business is designed and suited to helping larger organizations with hybrid environments with both Google and Microsoft operating systems. So if you've got more than 30 or 40 employees, if you're a large organization, maybe you've got hundreds or even thousands of people in the business, click on the link down below and you should be able to get access to On-Site Helper, which is our mid-sized business brand that helps out larger businesses with more technical support for your Google Workspace account. If you're interested in that, jump on the link down below and we'll be able to help out. Or you can just head to onsitehelper.com. Okay, let's see. Modi, how is my internet support channel? Very wonderful that I get answers to questions. Yeah, you are very welcome. I love doing these, by the way. I'm here to help, guys. I love sharing and helping support business owners to grow more successful and business leaders to grow more successful businesses. Our mission for our business is to help create happier teams because we think that's going to have a positive impact on the world. And so if we can help you to create a better business, happier teams, we think that's a good thing worth doing. So we are all here for that. So yeah, thanks so much for joining. This would be very boring if I didn't have anyone watching or interacting. So it's great to have you here. All right, I'm going to see if Graham's got any other questions because I know he's texted me in the past. Let me see. Okay. All right, I was hunting around for ways to set user session length and I discovered Google Platform. What is that? And what is a cloud organization? What are cloud platform resources? Okay, cool. So great question. Google Cloud Platform is Google's online equivalent to Amazon Web Services. Cloud Platform lets you spin up development environments. It lets you spin up virtual machines. It lets you spin up AI tools. And these are primarily all tools for developers to build web apps and to build online services. Now, there is a vast array of tools available in Cloud Platform. It is extremely diverse. There are security services. There are network security services. There are storage services. If you need to store files in high availability environments, you can literally spin up a Windows server on there and use that as an alternative to Azure or integrate that into the rest of your IT infrastructure ecosystem. There's a lot that you can do there, as well as building on Google's amazing AI tools for building web apps and custom applications. There's also some pretty cool AI stuff like an automated contact center. And so there's tools that will answer the phone for your team and basically be an automated AI help desk assistant. So if you've ever called a bank and spoken to someone and it kind of sounds a little bit like a human, but you've got a feeling it's a robot, even though they're talking to you in natural voice, that's probably Google's tools or something similar to Google's tools happening in the background there. Now, Google Cloud Platform can interface with Google Workspace using a tool called Cloud Organize. I think it's called Cloud Organization. I'm trying to remember what the actual name is. I forgot what the actual name is. But effectively, there are directory tools that you can use inside Google Cloud Organization to create user accounts that don't have a mailbox assigned to them like you would have in Google Workspace. And so in Google Workspace, you create a user, they just by default always get a mailbox, and therefore you always have to pay for every single user. But using Google Cloud Organization, what you can do is you can roll out user accounts which don't have mailboxes attached, and that allows you to actually grow your organization in ways where you need to issue someone credentials, but you don't need them to actually pay for a license for Google Workspace. So what are some of the reasons that you might want to use that? Well, you might want to use authentication to a third-party system or authentication to some kind of IT infrastructure for someone, so you can have passwords locked down and maybe even have two-factor authentication set up for that user, but you don't necessarily want to issue them a mailbox and have them have to pay for something. You might want to interface with a cloud app of some sort and hand out usernames and passwords for a cloud app, but you don't want to pay for each user license. So that is what that is useful for. There's also some little tricks that you can use it for, like having an extra administrator of your Workspace account without actually paying for a mailbox. And so if you're interested in anything clever like that, we'll have a chat to our team. Drop a comment or a link down below to get in touch with our team, and ask them about cloud organization, because there are definitely some cool things that can be done with that. Okay, great. I think I'm just about done with questions. Last chance to drop a question in at ask.peter.com. Nope, I think that's it. We're going to wrap up here, and I'll have a break. Thank you so much for joining. It's been wonderful to have you here with me. If you are just joining or you're watching the replay, drop a comment down below and say hello. If you would like to ask me a question, head to ask.peter.tv. That's the best place to ask me questions now. I still want to have discourse and comments and chit chat as much as possible down in the comments, but I can't get to every single comment. So if you want to ask me a question, it now needs to go to ask.peter.tv, and we're using a democratic process there for me to ask the questions that filter along to the top. So thank you so much for joining. I look forward to seeing you in the next one. We will be still producing more content. We've got more lives coming up. And I should also mention our boot camp is coming up at the end of this month. It's called Systemize and Scale. Just a couple $100. It's over 2 half days, so super convenient to come along to. Please come along to the boot camp. It's going to be awesome. We are helping you with all of the secrets that I've used to build a scalable business that runs and works without me. You might not know this, but I semi-retired at 27. That was 6 years ago. I've exited my business, and the business effectively runs itself now. I can do as little or as much in the business as I like, and it just pays me money and lets me do what I want with my life. And I want to help you, if you're a business owner or a business leader, have more flexibility and more freedom in your life. And so I've distilled all of my tools for scale, all my tools for building great systems, and all my tools for getting the hats off your head and delegate it across to everyone else in your team into a special workshop. And that workshop is 2 half days. It's a live training. It's the only one that I've got scheduled for the year right now. I don't know if we're going to run this again, but if you're interested, click on the link down below in my bio and come along to that. It's going to be pretty darn epic. And I'm going to be sharing with you some awesome tools. Now, I've previously only shared these tools and and all this information in masterminds, which people had to pay tens of thousands of dollars to get access to. But I'm sharing this for I think it's $397 Australian that we're sharing it for 2 half days. Going to be amazing value. Make sure you come along to that and check it out. Link is down below. I look forward to seeing you too. We do have another question coming through. Oh no, it's just a comment. Great. For a new freelancer, this is wonderful that you give us this help. Look, I'm doing my best here to help you guys out. We obviously have a business that helps small business owners. Concierge is there if you'd like some extra help and some extra hand holding. But I love seeing business owners succeed. I've been an entrepreneur since I was 15 years old. This is all I know. And I'm doing my best to help support the community of entrepreneurs as much as possible. And isn't this awesome? We get to do this online and globally via YouTube. I'm sitting in a hotel room in Taipei at the moment, just talking to you guys on my camera. And there's someone from Texas. There's, I'm going to pronounce it incorrectly. Where's Graham from? I've got it right here. Ulaanbaatar. I'm actually kind of a little bit closer to you now, Graham. I think you're in Malaysia, somewhere in Indonesia, I think. Yeah, we've got people all over the world joining in. So great to have you here. I'm gonna disappear now, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Make sure you're subscribed, give me a thumbs up, and look forward to catching up next time. Cheers.